let's talk about Big Wednesday.
Oh yeah, Big Wednesday. So that, so once again, my friend Greg McGillivray, who has been very instrumental in making surfing films, and now makes all the large format IMAX films. He always appreciated my surfing, and my friend Mark as well, who passed away last year. So he called me and he says, Warner Brothers is making a movie, another one of these surfing films, and they're looking for people that they can use that are good surfers, but also can act and are good looking. They think that you're able to do that. And I said, well, I'll do my best. So they sent me a ticket to go to Hollywood for a screen test. And I went up and I met the director, John Milius, and we talked a little bit, and we went out. He gave me the script. He says, it was the one scene in Big Wednesday where one of their buddies in Vietnam had gotten killed, and I think it was Jan-Michael Vincent. He was drunk, and he was saying, like, trying to talk to him, like, anyway, I forget what was being said in the script, but I was trying to talk drunk, and I wasn't really good at it, and I knew I wasn't. I mean, I'm not an actor, right? So anyway, down the way, they decided that surfers are probably good surfers, but they're not such good actors. So it was a $8 million film that eventually went in over budget to $12 million, but it was like, we need name actors. So they got Gary Busey, they got Jan-Michael Vincent and William Katt. And I was the stunt double for Jan-Michael Vincent, Gary Busey for Ian Carnes, and then Peter Townend had William Katt. But that was a film that took a year to finish, and we went to the first filming was in El Salvador in 1977, and we were down there for about nearly 2 months. And we were there right at the very beginning of the Sandinista Contra problems that we're having that time. So we moved into this little compound. It was like a Club Med kind of thing where it had a bunch of little huts that housed 2 people, a centralized restaurant, a big pool, and it was basically a place for the wealthy people from El Salvador to come. So when we checked in, there was a couple of families there that, they had these big bodyguards in suits with 45s hanging out of their coat. And it was like, okay, the rich people are protected, And so 2 days later, they find the ambassador to Guatemala at the base of the property with 12 bullet holes in him. So we knew that we'd heard some rumors about things going south down there. And so every weekend we'd go in to get fresh water and supplies and take our film and send it off to get, developed. And all the street corners had tanks and 50 caliber machine guns, and they were preparing for some kind of a, civil war event. And I was like going, I don't know about how everybody else felt, but I was thinking, I always had a plan B, where I was going to hide, where I was going to fall. It was always like, I always had that in my mind. And I remember it was pretty touch and go. And one day we were filming, so we had a helicopter, we had a Zodiac for the Zodiac for the water shots, and for the helicopter for the aerial. And we're surfing a place called La Libertad one day. And one of the military guys hadn't been informed about what we were doing. We're filming this movie, and we had a direct liaison with the president. So, and she spoke fluent Spanish, fortunately. So, they thought they were being invaded. So they sent 4 troop carriers down with guys with rifles, and it was like. Shoot before you talk kind of thing. He was like, don't do that. And it was like, wait a minute, we're Howleys. we got a helicopter and boat, but we're not doing. We're making a film, you know.
Just actors.
And so the interpreter got on the phone, got El Presidente on the phone, and he talked to El General Misimo, and they ironed it out. But it was kind of like a strange time to be down there, and good waves, and we all doing fine up until we had a party one night, and we used the local ice cubes without really thinking it, and made this wine lemon punch, and we all woke up the next day with dysentery. Amoebic dysentery symptoms, but it was a viral something that was caused by the water. So we started dropping like flies. First guy to go was Bud Brown, who was the oldest cameraman in the unit. And he didn't have any weight on his body, and he was sick as a dog. And I remember he and I used to play cards a lot together in his room. He was a great guy. I knew him when I was like a young kid. And he'd always tease me because I had I always had a little roll of fat around my waist. He always go, "What's that, Hamilton?" I go, "That's my flotation device." And so poor Bud Brown is getting let out of the compound, and it's like, you know, he's basically holding on to two people. And I'm sitting on the corner, I go, "Hey, Bud." He looks at me and goes, I go, "This is my life preserver." It wasn't funny at the time, but in retrospect, you know, funny. But so I was losing, you know, I went down there weighing about 180 pounds, and I was losing nearly 2 pounds a day. And we were trying to film, right? I remember one time Greg had this, you know, 35 millimeter housing. It was like big, and it weighed 60 pounds, and he's got it on a surfboard, and got Peter Townend over here and Ian Carnes, and they're both sick as dogs. I mean, we're all just, it was like, and here comes a wave about this big and literally washes all of us ashore. And I looked at Greg, I go, "Greg, we're done. We can't do this. We're too weak. We can't do this." So we all packed it up a couple of days later and left and went back, started doing the filming in Santa Barbara at the Hollister Ranch and doing a lot of stuff there. And we ended up going to the North Shore towards the end of the film and filming all, supposedly it was going to be big waves, but the whole time we're there, you know, I think we surfed Waimea, you know, small Waimea one day. We did a lot of the shots at sunset and pipeline turnaround, negative turnaround. Jackie Dunn did some stuff, and I did a boat stunt. It happened on a Wednesday. It was a week before they wrapped it up. So this guy named Terry Leonard, who did a lot of stunts in Hollywood, very well respected guy. He and I had talked early on in the film that we were going to do a stunt and drive up the face of a wave in Waimea and jump out. He was going to get 25 grand. I was going to get 25 grand, but he didn't know how to swim. I said, "Terry, this is going to end up so good for you." You know, he goes, "Don't worry, Hamilton, I can do it." He said, you know, great guy. Anyway, I bought a boat. I actually went to Milius. I said, "Listen, did you scrub the stunt?" He said, "Yeah, we had." I said, "I'll tell you what,Ll do it. I'll do it for 5 grand. Here's what I'll do. I'll put the boat here. And then I'll bring it to about here, and then I'll jump off, and I'll let the wave get caught inside. I'll let the boat get caught inside by the wave." And he goes, "You want to do that?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You got to pay for the whole stunt." I said, "Yeah, I'll get the boat." So I went and got the boat, bought it for $115 from a Portuguese guy in Haleiwa. Couldn't believe it. His wife was using it as a flower bed. That's perfect. I can destroy that. And yeah, so got towed up by Jeff Johnson from Haleiwa and had bought an engine from Flippy Hoffman for $50. The stunt really didn't cost much. I think the whole thing, and I had to hire Mike Myers for $1,000. So anyway, when we go, we're being towed up to Sunset, and Jeff is talking about something, and all of a sudden he kind of looks and he starts driving out to sea. And we're outside pipeline, we go up this swell, like, it's starting to get bigger. You go up this swell and come back down and go, oh, sunset's going to be giant, you know. So we get into, and sure enough, the regular sunset is closed out and it's on the second reef. So I'm motoring around trying to find a position to do that, and I'm getting lost in the trough. So they radio the boat and they say, tell Hamilton to go over there when it's flat, where he surfs normally, and wait for waves, and which I did. And I got a picture of the wave right there on the wall there.